We'll continue on this subject with some rebuttal time. Senator.
I'm glad to hear that the Lieutenant Governor now, after 8 years in office as Lieutenant Governor and 6 years in the Senate, sees that issue the way many of us in this room have seen it for some years. It's a shame that a governor would, again, demagogue locally elected school board members when this administration itself retains budget reserves to the tune of $107 million and trust funds to the tune of $600 or $700 million, and then to criticize you for whatever careful budgeting you have done at the local level is inexcusable. It'll never happen in a Heideprim administration. You can count on that.
Okay, we'll continue with rebuttals.
Well, I want to say that I'm sorry that Senator Heideprim misunderstands my duty of loyalty as Lieutenant Governor to the governor. The whole point of having a lieutenant governor is to have someone that's prepared to take the office if something would happen to the governor. Toward that end, when first elected, I resolved I would never disagree publicly with a position that the governor has taken, and this is one such position. I have never agreed with the notion that school districts should be disallowed from building up reserves in whatever size they believe makes them responsible administrators. I have never believed otherwise. I've simply not stated it publicly because of my duty of loyalty. If I disagree publicly with the governor, our communication will start to falter, and my ability to do my job, that is, be ready in case something happens to the governor, is reduced. To the extent that I never disagree with the governor, our trust has grown over the years. He trusts me completely and shares any information, and thus I am ready to do my job.
All right, very good. I am told we have time for one more question from an audience member. We'll give you each 1 minute, but we do not have time for rebuttals. Lieutenant Governor, you will begin. What is your plan to improve achievement levels and graduation rates for American Indian students attending our public schools?
Our best solution for the problems in Native Americans on the reservation is economic development. I met just this week with a leader of a tribe in Nebraska who has demonstrated an ability to bring economic development to the reservations, something that we've tried in South Dakota, something that gaming has helped to some degree with, but economic conditions on the reservation are at the root of all our problems there, and education certainly suffers because of it. If we can bring economic development, job growth, opportunities for self-achievement in the workforce, you can bring pride to the family, you can bring, the children can see self-achievement as something worthy of attaining and pursuing. Those are the answers to the budget problems we have in our state. Economic development is at the root of those. It's the same on the Indian reservations as well.
All right, very good. Senator, same question. What is your plan to improve achievement levels and graduation rates for American Indian students attending our public schools?
When a child fails on the Standing Rock or a child fails in the Pine Ridge, it's just as devastating to South Dakota as a child who fails in Sioux Falls or Scotland. We should all be terribly concerned about it. That's why I'm such a strong supporter of pre-K standards throughout South Dakota, so that we can capture those 3- and 4-year-olds at a critical time in their lives, whether they're on reservation or off the reservation. And that's why it's so incredibly important that we do a good job for those 3- and 4-year-olds and make sure they're prepared when they go forward. That's probably one of the best ways we can assure a better completion rate in school. We do have a significant problem. It's not so much with the completion rate as it is with staying in college after that first year. And we really need to incentivize the process of remaining in school and make sure that that point is driven home. The next governor has got to make sure that all boats rise in South Dakota, whether someone is on the reservation or off.
Okay, very good. We've come to the end. We are going to take some time to let each of you provide some closing thoughts to the audience. Senator, we'll start with you, and we'll try to keep it around 2 minutes if we can.
Well, thank you, Stephanie, and thank you again, school board members, administrators, South Dakota Education Association, and Public Broadcasting. I'm very grateful to all of you for being here, and for those of you who are watching at home. Public education is an incredible American experiment. Had there not been an America, maybe there never would have been public education, because we invented it here in this country. And making sure that K-12 education is not only public but free was an important part of that great experiment. It is one of the greatest things about our country. I talk about the Constitution in South Dakota a lot because you can read that document and see how much our founders cared about what it is you do every day of your life. Those of you in education, it's critically important. But that great American experiment is threatened today. It's threatened by enemies within. It's threatened by politicians who may demagogue people involved in education and don't provide the resources necessary, but are too busy growing the size of government instead of growing the workforce in education and making sure we have the adequate resources to meet the challenges of the future in South Dakota. That's what the Heideprim administration will be devoted to. Again, those arrows are so critically important. 39% down to 30. Before that arrow goes through the floor, we have to turn it back up. The size of state government, we've got to contain it and reduce it. That's the challenge for the next administration in South Dakota. That's what I'm looking forward to as the next governor of South Dakota, and I can hardly wait to get started. Thank you.
Very good. All right, Lieutenant Governor, your turn to provide some closing thoughts.
Thank you. What do you want in your next governor? I think you want 4 things. You want someone who will be honest. You want someone who has experience. You want someone who will be a leader. And you want someone who's motivated by the right reasons. I am honest. Now, I know I can tell you that, and you'll have to judge for yourself, but I ask you to ask people who worked with me at Children's Home Society or in banking or in the legislature. I believe they will tell you that I'm honest. You want a governor who is experienced. I have ag experience. I grew up on a farm. We had cattle and hogs and chickens, milk cows. I worked the fields. I have business experience. I spent 10 years in banking. I spent nearly 20 years at Children's Home Society, where I became CEO of an organization with $17 million in budget and over 300 employees. I have political experience. I spent 6 years in our state senate, and now I'm in my 8th year as your lieutenant governor. I have the mix of experience that will help me lead South Dakota. And that's the third thing. You want a leader. You want someone who has ideas. I have ideas. I have a jobs plan. Go to my website and look at it. I also will listen. Leaders need to listen. The world is too complicated to think we know it all. In the near term, South Dakota needs to develop its economy, build business, add jobs. I can do that. In my role in banking, I led the new business effort. At Children's Home Society, I took them out of debt. I made them financially strong. I grew them 7-fold. I can lead, and I will lead. I will take a personal role in business development in South Dakota. Finally, you want someone who's motivated by the right reasons. I don't care about money or power. I've never been interested in it. I care about people, and I care about South Dakota. And if you elect me as your governor, I will never stop listening, never stop learning, and never stop working for you.
Very good. Thank you both. All right, and that will bring our debate to an end. I'd like to thank our gubernatorial candidates for being with us. Republican candidate, Lieutenant Governor Dennis Dugard, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And of course, our Democrat candidate, State Senator Scott Heideprim from Sioux Falls. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Steph.
And of course, thanks to all of our audience members for being here and providing such great questions tonight. Again, election 2010, the governor's K-12 education debate was brought to you by Associated School Boards of South Dakota, the South Dakota Education Association, the School Administrators of South Dakota, and by South Dakota Public Broadcasting. For more information on SDPB's election coverage this season, visit us online at sdpb.org. Now, on behalf of everyone involved with today's debate, I'm Stephanie Rissler. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.